Welcome to my daily practice at Wendy Coad Art. If you find this video interesting or helpful, please consider subscribing to my channel and liking the video.
Hi, it's Wendy, and welcome to my studio. I am going to do some work today, but I woke up this morning. Well, actually, it wasn't when I woke up this morning. I just have been dragging my heels about doing some work today. And so that happens. You know, what happens when you don't want to do any work? It's Sunday. Um, I work every day, and because I love it, I really do. But some days I just don't want to, and it's okay. Take the day off. I'm good with that. But I also know that I'm here, and there's plenty of work for me to do, and it's not painting. I know, my favorite thing, the painting. But I finished a series. I've got 9 paintings on that wall, and I don't know. I mean, these are just kind of halfway, uh, at the halfway mark. It's hard to say sometimes. Sometimes you just do a couple of things, and it's like boom, it all came together. It's looking good. We're done. But that doesn't happen very often. So I, because it's kind of, painting is kind of like a muscle. You know, I want to exercise it every day. Why not? It's not like such a big deal. So there's plenty to do in the studio that is not the actual physical paint. You know, put the paint on the brush or the squeegee and put it on the paper or the panel. It's the other parts of the studio practice, like putting the paint away, taking the paper off the boards, um, organizing things so that the next time you are just ready to go. I mean, it's kind of like cleaning up your room or, you know, doing the dishes. And why would I invite you to join me while I do that? Well, because it's part of the studio practice. It's it's what I do. So right now, these paintings, you know, I love the flow of paint. I really do. And there's often parts of paintings that I work on and I'm just in love with it. I'm in love with that part, not the whole thing, just that part. And it becomes a little bit difficult to um, be brave enough to risk destroying that part in order to get the rest of the painting kind of at that level. And I think that's one of the hardest things uh, as an artist to do, and that's to, you know, risk destroying. Uh, I enjoy the creating, but I get a little trepidatious on the destruction. So, but I enjoy it too because I know there's going to be something good on the other side, and there's always another painting. So, but I'm not going to do that today. But I'm telling you because these have some really juicy parts. You know, if I was to kind of tear them up to smaller chunks, then I would definitely see uh, the good parts just as, you know, little works of art on their own level. But I don't want to do that. I want to keep going and have the larger paintings make the you know, the success or the failure. It can go either way. And I also learned, you know, because I used to work and work and work and work, thinking that everything had to be a success, and it doesn't. It's just like life. It does not have to be a success. So So today I'm going to take these paintings down. That's what I've been circling around. I staple them to the boards. And while I do that, I'm going to just wax on about the painting process. Because there's no end of kind of information, learning, enjoyment, excitement, no end to really having uh, a, a life, life experience within the painting experience itself. The other thing that I find about painting is the meditative quality. And painting has long been part of meditation practices. There are, the mandalas, the paintings in religious contexts that completely fulfill that self-growth, that universal harmony, et cetera, et cetera. It really depends on whether the painting's going well for me, whether I'm in my self-growth mode or not. I'm just going to move this camera so it's going to face the area that I'm working on. So I'm always excited to take them down. I'm always excited to put new paper up. I am never bothered by how to start or where to start, because you just make a mark and then you have a problem and then you have to solve the problem and you're off to the races. This is what keeps me in shape. That and this and exercise. Do exercise so that I can continue to paint without injuring myself. I like the physicality of the painting process. I really do. I like the arc of my arm. I like the dance that happens when applying the paint, when looking at the surfaces. Oh, there's not much I don't like. Oh, shoot. All right, well, that was a distracted moment, and I tore a little piece of the paper. And I don't mind. I really don't mind. I mean, of course, my initial reaction was not that, but first of all, it does not distract from that area, because there's other spaces that are pretty consistent. And I have a choice of either gluing it back on, which I always think, I like to see an artist's handiwork. I remember when I was traveling, this was with a group, but we were in China, and in the area that was the old Tibet. And we stopped at a workshop where the students were learning to paint the Thangkas. And we were tourists, so, they had, the Thangkas were being painted for for commerce, for distribution. And but I think they were starting a new group of students. They did not have a lot of um, product, and they were very apologetic. But some of the students brought out their practice work, and of course, it was beautiful. I mean, it was just gorgeous. And but it had flaws. You could see where you could see where the student had made an error and corrected it. I mean, error, that's a relative concept. I wouldn't consider it an error. That just goes to show that there are so many people who appreciate things even differently than you do yourself, because that's what happened there. So this one young student, had the painting, a little embarrassed, apologetic. It was gorgeous. It was gorgeous because it had these kind of translucencies. It wasn't transparent, it wasn't opaque, but these kind of semi-transparent areas where the corrections had been made, where the line wasn't quite right, and it had to be adjusted in order to fulfill the requirements of the guild or the studio, and for the commercial or the distribution purposes. I don't know exactly where they go, but they look like the Thangkas that you can. Oh no, they're really, really finely done. They were really, really beautiful. So I was thrilled. Um, I got one, and I would rather have the one that I got, which had the trail of the artist's journey throughout the work. So when I saw it, and maybe this is really what's not supposed to happen, you're not supposed to see the hand of man. You are supposed to look at the glory of the Buddha, or the whatever the iconography. Um, but I like the hand of man. I like to see that. I like to uh, just see the trail of breadcrumbs that are left by the person whose job it was or whose passion it was to do that, put that creative thought into the world. So, I mean, I don't go around looking for mistakes or for kind of a little sloppy area here or there. No, not at all. But I mean, sloppy is a relative concept too. My work is very loose and very, organic. So one man's appreciation for a process can be another man's or woman's, um, you know, dissatisfaction or disgust or something. I don't know. That's what critics are for. Critics measure the cultural temperature for art, at in their time, and they are often critical of things that are outside of that arena. And I personally, I love to be outside of that arena. I don't even think I'm outside of that arena enough. Um, and that's just one artist's perspective. That's just me. So So let me take these down. I'll keep the tools handy. And what's happening now is that these will be, to some degree, stuck together. And I will have to take them apart before they, before they can be put away. I don't know, these long panels are kind of nice. They're 3 pieces, but and I think of them individually, but there's something kind of nice as well. Now that they've been separated from the plastic, from the backing board, you know, I don't get to see them very much outside of the surface that I paint them on, which is kind of a messy surface. So the edges don't really stand out. And here they do. Let me show you this one. I love this. So it wasn't a long session in the studio, although now I'm all kind of revved up. I'm going to continue, but I'm going to do it. I'm not going to talk, so I'll let you go. Come back when I'm, you know, all ready for another round of painting. You get to see the beginning as opposed to the end. So it's been great to have you in my studio. Thank you for coming by, and I will see you on the next tape. So I'm so happy that you are joining me today, and maybe other days too. I'll take you through my day-to-day as an artist, and I look forward to seeing you on the next tape. Thanks for being here.